alors que se produit l'événement de la journée. Poulidor lâche Merckx, Hara et les autres sans coup férir. Il a passé une accélération qui a laissé tout le monde sans réaction.
Encouragé par l'Espagnol, le vétéran Raymond Poulidor, 38 ans, attaque à son tour. Depuis 1962, il tente sa chance, mais il n'a jamais pu porter ne serait-ce qu'une journée le plus beau des maillots. Alors bravement, en 1974, il repart à l'offensive et gagne l'étape du Pla d'Adès. Une victoire pour l'honneur, car Eddy Merckx se fait bonne garde. Il va remporter son 5e Tour de France. Poulidor, lui, terminera 2e.
Raymond Poulidor, on savait déjà à Font-Romeu que, alors que nous voyons ici la grande étape pyrénéenne, on savait que Thévenet avait perdu le Tour dans le peloton.
À Font-Romeu, non, pas encore, non, puisque l'étape principale se situait dans les Pyrénées. L'étape de Saint-Lary, on ne pouvait pas dire que Thévenet avait perdu le Tour de France, mais ses chances quand même étaient réduites, puisqu'il accusait quand même plus de 2 minutes sur ses principaux adversaires.
En ce moment, la fin de course d'une étape qui comptera parmi les plus fantastiques jamais disputées sur le Tour de France. Le classement général ce soir va subir d'énormes chambardements.
Van Impe causó un enorme impacto en el Tour. El belga ganó la etapa y le arrebató el maillot amarillo al francés Raymond de Lille. Las diferencias eran enormes e irreversibles.
Van Impe qui a trouvé encore la ressource de tendre les bras pour essayer.
Mais Guimard se veut également découvreur de jeunes talents. Au bout de 2 ans, il sera récompensé. En 1978, il ne lâche plus le nouveau champion de France, le breton des Côtes du Nord, Bernard Hinault.
Hinault accompagne les autres favoris dans les Pyrénées et se permet d'imposer le train le plus soutenu au 12e jour de course au Pla d'Adès, alors que Mariano Martinez a démarré pour aller gagner l'étape. Il vise rien moins que la victoire finale et l'on sait déjà qu'il en a les moyens.
Que Anderson, en ce moment qui fait jeu égal avec Bernard Hinault, il peut le considérer comme un adversaire redoutable, un adversaire peut-être qui ne comptait pas au départ.
On ne s'ennuie pas dans un Tour de France parce que c'est toujours un grand événement, et un petit coup de chapeau en particulier à ceux qui nous proposent ces étapes, et là une pensée amicale à Jacques Godet qui doit regarder ces images à Paris et dont nous souhaitons le retour rapide. Fernandez et Vallet qui est à droite et qui va maintenant démarrer à moins de 500 mètres de la ligne, alors que Zottmelk est décramponné. Zottmelk sous vos yeux vient d'être décramponné, que sous l'accélération de Vallet, c'est maintenant Hinault qui ne peut pas faire l'effort, mais il n'y aura pas de grande modification au classement général ce soir, si ce n'est peut-être qu'Anderson ne va plus se retrouver à la 2e place du classement général. Et oui, Bernard Giroud, Breu arrive à moins de 200 mètres de la ligne. On va faire l'arrivée de Breu et on va prendre les temps.
Oui, eh bien c'est Alban qui a démarré. Effectivement, son état de fraîcheur se justifie actuellement. Alban a démarré entraînant avec lui Bernard Vallet et également Fernandez. Breu, lui, est là-bas devant, alors que Zottmelk compte maintenant une 20aine de mètres de retard. Hinault a déjà récupéré non seulement Martin, mais aussi Vallet, donc devant Alban, Fernandez pour l'attribution de la 2e place. Et bien sûr, il y a Breu qui devrait remporter cette étape.
Though it might well be today, we don't normally see him get out of the saddle. Well, look at this.
This is what I was waiting for ever since the bottom of the climb, an attack to come from Tony Rominger. And it looks to me as if Indurain is suffering a little bit to try and get onto the wheel there. Rominger, every time he manages to react and comes up to it, he's only got one man to mark in this race, the Tour de France.
Well, we've seen Roach approaching, but he's holding off as long as he can. He wants really Miguel Indurain to start the sprint so he can have his back wheel, but Indurain is not going to do it. And watch out for Jaskula, who's gone. Zenon Jaskula goes. Rominger snatches the gear lever, takes on Jaskula. You see Indurain was in trouble. He can't hold the wheel. Indurain will concede, so be it, a few seconds on the line, but at least he's shown to us today that he is human, and he does crack if you race him the right way. Jaskula, brilliant win for him. Rominger is second, and then a couple of seconds. Cyclist on the circuit at the moment has 12 stage wins in the Tour de France. And now this will be number 10 for Lance Armstrong, and plenty of opportunity before Paris to win again. Now look at the defiance of Jalabert. He's tried to lift his pace.
Jalabert's a star, he's a champion as well, and in fact Armstrong looked across at him and I would say uttered a word of encouragement, because Armstrong will appreciate the move by Laurent Jalabert today, but that appreciation is not going to last very long at all. Jalabert lifted it for about 20 metres, and now there's one man alone at the lead of the Tour de France. His name is Armstrong, he wears number 1, and this is going to be
high mountains when he seems to do everything right. The best form he's come to the Tour. I would say his form is better than when he won the Tour de France in 1997, but he's hit a Superman, as he's already lost 20 seconds now, and dancing away to his third stage victory of this year's Tour de France is Lance Armstrong. Free as a bird to fly now. He's crossed all of the coals. He's been attacked. He's counter-attacked. He's had to come back. He's even waited for Jan Ullrich when he fell off. And now, Wano or Mano, he just flies away.
This is quite remarkable right now. It's 11 seconds already over Jalabert, 20 over Ullrich, 45 seconds back to his teammate Roberto Heras, who did an absolutely magnificent job of setting this up to Armstrong. Before the start of the Tour, we questioned the ability of bringing in Rubiera, who hadn't shown any form at all so far this season, and now he's set the race up for Armstrong. Ullrich, his head bowed in pain, trying to pull himself up to Jalabert. It gives you an idea of just how great the performance of Laurent Jalabert has been today, because Ullrich, who's the strongest man in the bike race, is having a hard time pulling him. Number of spectators turning out for this Pyrenean stage, which they expected was going to be big, and it certainly has lived up to that.
And they will stay for a while now, because we're here tomorrow in the opposite valley of the Col de Tourmalet, the biggest climb in the Tour de France this year at over 2,100 metres, as they now battle through the crowds, an American on his way to victory again. The green grass of home for Lance Armstrong today, because he's racing for yellow now as he heads up to the top of the Pla d'Adet. All the best bike riders in the world have won on this climb, and I'm sure Lance Armstrong knows that too. This man will not give up. He's losing a second or two, but he's not losing huge amount of time. And look at the crowd here. If they could pedal the bike for him, I think they would.
They will cheer on every one of these bike riders, because most of these people at the side of the road today are cyclists. They know what kind of pain these professionals have to go through. They can imagine what it's like to go at the speeds that Jan Ullrich and Lance Armstrong have ascended here, the Pla d'Adet. The complete laboured style of Jan Ullrich is unbelievable, but he's a strong man. He will fight all the way to the finish. He will get some respite in a moment, Phil, because this climb just descends for around about 750 metres, but then it kicks up for the last 2K. Ullrich, oh, he gets it onto the big ring there. He just wants to try and limit his losses to Armstrong.
Well, I'm not so sure he made a mess of that gear change. His legs. So Lance Armstrong climbs now to his next victory in the Tour de France, and this, I think, will be the sweetest. Remember, he was 35 minutes behind just a few days ago. He is now going to sit down when he wins this stage and see if he's changing the US Postal blue shirt for a yellow one. A magnificent, and he looks at the sky, memories again perhaps of Fabio Casatelli on the day this race crossed the Porte d'Aspet, where his teammate died in 1996.
Jaja, here he is. The bands as a former world time trial champion on his shoulder.
Listen,
they love it. They know this man has done a ride today. They know he's been a hero. He will put on the King of the Mountains competition today. The leader in that competition, 3:11 for him, 7th place on the stage.
France, and deserves the victory, probably more than George Hincapie does. Further down the slope go Basso, still working with Armstrong. Neither of these boys have cracked. They are not shirking their duty. They are getting on with it. Not far off our camera is Ullrich.
Ullrich is actually only 22 seconds behind Armstrong and Basso. This part of the climb is actually starting to suit him. This is a very strange climb. It's a horrible climb, because there are moments when it's steep, there are moments when it's flat. It actually suits the pure climbers, because they are the guys who can change their rhythm. But for Ullrich, who's the powerful climber, he can use his big gears on the flatter part of the course. The crowd is ballistic.
Takes him wide. It's still a long way to go.
It is long and interminable, the 1,000 metres at the top of a mountain like this. There are 300 metres to go. Oscar Pereiro opens up the gap. Hincap is ready.
Hincap goes at 200, and now there'll be no answer for Pereiro. This is going to be yet another memorable moment in the life of this American team. Lance Armstrong, when he can't win, why not send them George Hincap to finish off a perfect day of tactical copybook reading? And George Hincap, after 10 years in the Tour de France, finally gets a victory, and he cannot believe it. George Hincap, Tour de France.
Un'altra classe, un altro motore in salita in questo momento per il polacco che vuole andare a fare il secondo polacco che si prende questa tappa nella storia.
E la terza vittoria sarebbe di un polacco nella storia assoluta del Tour de France e sarebbe la seconda vittoria su questo traguardo. Dopo quella di Ascola, Majka parte con un attacco potente, imperioso, stacca per il momento Giovanni Visconti, questo alle spalle Pierre Rolland che dalla testa della corsa ci era dato con un ritardo di una trentina di secondi, ma potrebbe aver recuperato qualcosa qui.
Rafa Majka intanto sta andando a prendere la sua con la sua galoppata finale, un po' in difficoltà ora il polacco di un po' in difficoltà, ma se l'è ricordato. Ora vediamo chi fa secondo, perché dietro a Rafa Majka
c'è Visconti, dovrebbe esserci ancora Giovanni Visconti.
Dovrebbe esserci Visconti no, ma è soprattutto per il punteggio anche del Gran Premio della Montagna da
staccato, Purito Nibali prende dei punti ma è staccato da Majka, quindi Majka ha tutta la convenienza in questo passaggio. 50 punti. Majka è un personaggio, adoro Rafa Majka, te lo dico.
Rafa Majka grandissimo.
Qui place la belle accélération. Dan Martin lui emboîte le pas mais ne peut suivre le train du Colombien. Quintana rejoint à 11,5 km de l'arrivée Valverde. Les deux hommes unissent leurs forces. À 6,5 km de l'arrivée, Quintana a déjà repris Kangert et lâche définitivement Rafał Majka, son dernier partenaire d'échappée. L'objectif est de se rapprocher du podium et surtout de remporter cette 17e étape pour le Colombien. À 2 km de l'arrivée, Tom Dumoulin lance enfin les hostilités pour le podium. Chris Froome montre des signes de fatigue et ne peut suivre le rythme du maillot jaune en personne Geraint Thomas, mais aussi de Primož Roglič et Tom Dumoulin. Quintana finit par s'imposer devant Dan Martin. Thomas règle un sprint à 3 et reprend du temps à ses poursuivants.